This week's tip is something called Pray and Tell. This came from a minister called Nick, who's from a church in Hillsborough. I asked him about his church, which has grown a lot in recent years. He said that this is one of the main things that helped. He wanted to help his church family in their everyday conversations with others, and how we could gently and easily say to anyone we meet, you could involve God in your life. As you might expect, there are two parts, pray and tell, but it's all very simple. In everyday life, we often chat to people. It's harder at the moment because of coronavirus, but even across the road or over a screen, we can still chat to other people a lot. Some people we know well. Some we don't know very well at all. They might be people in a shop queue, someone on a train journey, a colleague at a meeting, someone outside school. Often in those conversations, we hear a little bit of life's ups and downs from the other person. If we ask, "How are you?" it might go something like this. "Okay, but I'm not looking forward to next week's team meeting. I think it's going to be bad news for us all." Or, "Okay, but I can't come round this weekend because Mum's hurt her leg and can't drive." Or, "Okay, but we had to leave our other son at home because he's got exams next week." Or, "Okay, but we've had to cancel our trip to London to celebrate our 15th wedding anniversary." How might we respond? Well, trying to get the full gospel of creation, fall, cross, resurrection, waiting, and new creation, along with a lengthy explanation of what the Trinity means, might just be a bit heavy-handed. But instead of saying nothing, or indeed instead of saying something else, why don't you just say something like, "Well, that sounds hard, can I pray for that?" Or if it's good news, we might say, "Well, that sounds great, can I pray and thank God?" Now, praying for someone else reveals a lot about God, more than we might think. When we pray, we say to others that God listens, that He acts when we pray, that He's powerful enough even to help in awful situations, that He cares for us, that He cares about His world, that He cares for people even though they don't know Him. There is a lot of theology in just one prayer. Now, if you can pray with the other person, that's brilliant, but even if you can only tell them what you're going to pray, well, that's good too. That's the first part of Pray and Tell. The other part is just as easy. If when you pray, you remember that God has helped you with a similar situation, just tell the other person. It might just be that you remember a verse or a passage that helped you, and you say, "When I went through that, this little verse kept me going." Or, "I remember when that happened to me and Jesus just got me through." There may be more details that you can give, but it is your story of how God has worked in your life, and it is very powerful. That's all there is to it. It is amazingly powerful, but very simple. Pray and tell.